it's been a long time since I've been in a relationship. And I told myself that I'm not going to go online to meet the next person. I just want something magical to happen. Something that doesn't happen anymore. Something that has hardly ever happened to me in my entire life. I would like to meet him in person. Okay? Imagine that. Okay, hear me out. Here's an update about the previous person who I had a complete meltdown over giving my phone number to. My precious, precious phone number that I never gave it to anybody. Last night, after doing the previous recording, I did tell you that he did text me, right? I read that to you. And then I noticed that after about 30 minutes, probably because I was doing the recording for 30 minutes, so I responded, oh my gosh, how is it after 8 p.m. already? And they responded around 9 that they're getting ready to go to bed. This is already a very uncomfortable territory for me. When it comes to strangers, I don't like people having access to me, even people who I know. I'm very strict about the terms of letting people in. And strangers, I'm okay if they message me on like a public platform, not message in a DM kind of way, but if they say something in the comment, I'll talk to them openly. I think there's a level of security that comes with the fact that there's other people who can see you. You know what I mean? I guess. And I have a few people once in a blue moon who, if they message me, I'll message them back, where there's a level of comfort there. I cannot think of anybody who I don't know personally who I messaged with. Actually, I just did. Maybe, yeah, there's a few, less than a handful for sure. But none of them are men. I'm not a big fan of men sliding into my DMs. Even if it's to say, how's your day going? Ask me that on my timeline. If you were on Facebook, put it on my wall. Why will you not put it on my wall? You're up to no good. That's how I think. And it's been proven over time that they have been up to no good. If somebody who has never commented on anything, I have great memory. I don't remember everybody, but if you seem like a stranger, I'm like, who is this person? And you decide to slide into my DMs as the first time, and if I go on your profile, I realize we've been friends since 2011, and it's now 2028. It's like, and the first thing that you're saying is, hey, sweetie, or something, like that, or what are you doing up so late? I don't like that. I don't like talking to people, to men, and I may have said this, at night. Don't text me. There's something, these are opinions of myself. They are not necessarily facts, but they are leaning way more towards being facts. Jack. So I find that, like, if I'm talking to men who we're not related in any way, like, for example, we're not like real life friends or anything, which of course we all know I don't have any of those either. If it's at night and you're talking in private, it's not going to go well. It's going to be about sex. It just is. So I don't want that. So for this guy to, he messaged me around 9. The weird thing is, when we were on Facebook dating, I could see his message at any time, and or anybody's messages. Whenever you go on there and you see the messages, I would respond at any time, because I'm not necessarily expecting them to be sitting there ready to respond. But even if they are, I've chatted with one guy who I've told you about in one of the episodes. The guy who ended up losing his shit over, I don't know what was going on. Anyway, I chatted with him probably around 1, 2 a.m. And it wasn't weird, it wasn't uncomfortable. I think there's that sense, it may be false, of security of, okay, if things go awry, I'm going to report this person, and of course I'm going to remove them. You don't get to report people on your text message. I guess you could on DM. I don't fuck with DM, okay? But let's put it that way. It's not my thing. So, yeah, I say that to say, like, I can chat with someone at any hour. I'll message you back at any time. And then, if I see it, I see it. And if I see your response to it, I'll see it. If I don't, I'll see it later, etc. There's that certain level of comfort and security there. But I feel like if somebody messages me on my phone, which I've taken certain measures to, you don't see when I get the message. You're not supposed to get a read receipt, but I don't know if people really do. I think I've asked 2 different people on 2 different occasions if they do get the notifications, like a read receipt, just to test it. And people don't answer that question. They talk about other things. I'm sick of people and just trying to figure out relationships. Like, oh, why is this message not answered? I'm sick of all of that. Anyway, so that's how I've designed it. But I think I was able to see a read receipt. Actually, I think it was 2 of my iPhones. I messaged myself from one of my iPhones to another one to test it. Do you see the lengths that I have to go to find out things? Because when I interact with other fellow humans, that's redundant. They won't dignify my questions or my messages with a response or an answer or a reply or anything. And yet they're out here trying to preach kindness and charity and virtuousness and whatever. That's why I just, in my head, call people hypocrites and keep them at arm's length from me, because I really can be asked. So they sent a few messages. One of them was about they're getting ready to go to bed. I thought, whoa, this feels like it's already escalated to the point of, I'm going to bed now. What are you doing? That's the kind of, what else are you going to talk about at 9 p.m.? And then I'm going to say, I don't know. I just took off my clothes, I guess, and I'm going to bed naked. I don't know, like, what am I supposed to say? And then what's it going to say in return? It sounds presumptuous, the stuff that I'm saying. But allow me to just blurt it all out. So I didn't reply, because I'm not trying to chat with somebody at 9 p.m. Everybody who knows me knows that when it comes to guys. I'll always tell them, yeah, let's pick this conversation up again tomorrow. I'm not comfortable talking to men at night. Usually, by the time we wake up in the morning, I block them. Maybe one of the reasons I tell them that is because of how uncomfortable I am with the vibe. And, then they end up being blocked based on that more than anything else. I don't know, dude. Well, I kind of know, but you know what I mean. So I didn't respond to those messages. Another thing that I wanted to say was, and I've told you a bit about this already, but this morning I was just thinking, call it ruminating. I was going over all of it, regurgitating or whatever. And I was thinking to myself, I went on a dating site to, against my better judgment. Not my better judgment, but my will. Because it's been a long time since I've been in a relationship. And I told myself that I'm not going to go online to meet the next person. I just want something magical to happen. Something that doesn't happen anymore. Something that has hardly ever happened to me in my entire life. I would like to meet him in person. Okay? Imagine that. And things happened in my life, and people came in and out. Well, they didn't come in, but people were pushed out and out and out to the point of, I was like, if I don't interact with anybody, I probably will go crazier than I already am. And I thought, let's go on Facebook dating site. It's a site I've never gone on before. I've been on, and hopefully there's always someone there to just interrupt my stream of thinking in days where I'm struggling mentally. I'm not looking for somebody I'm going to dump on. I hardly ever do that anyway. I only do that here because this is my space to do that. So I was like, it's not necessary. I don't have high expectations to meet somebody. If I do, that'll be the double cherry on top. But really, just to break the monotony of my life, which is hardly ever monotonous. So I went on the dating site and I joined, and I put, basic stuff about myself, as one does, and a ton of photos. A lot of them, people who would reach out to me would be like, oh gosh, here we go, whatever. Just basic stuff that you chat with at first with a stranger. And it was all okay, but it did do the thing that I wanted it to do. Even at times when I was so turned off by somebody and what they said and couldn't even freaking believe them or whatever. But it was me interacting with people. It could have been better quality conversations, obviously. But my point is, the bottom line of it beats maybe me going over something traumatic over and over in my mind and thinking dark thoughts. It's better to be angry sometimes than sad, if you get what I'm saying. So this particular person, as I've told you in the previous episode, had said they're looking for someone to chat with. And I thought to myself, okay, this is safe because I will do this for them. I will be the person for them to chat with. Because even though I would like to have friendships and other things, that's not why I went on a dating site for. You know what I mean? If I'm going to end up with anything on there, I don't expect it to be a friendship. Of course, you cannot design and plan your life so stringently because it's got a mind of its own life. But it was more because they had asked and I thought I'll do it for this person. I don't want to give you too much information on this person and say things about them that are going to make him... No, let's just leave that part there. So I thought, okay, maybe is it important to the story? The guy has a disability, and it's mentioned on their profile. So I thought that I wonder how hard it must be for this person to make connections on the love sphere. It's one of the reasons I thought, okay, I will avail myself, as they had specifically said, someone to chat with. At least they can have someone to chat with. I don't know their life, obviously, so I don't know. They may have a much more social life than I do, but I put that out there. I availed myself to that degree, and we did chat, and it felt respectful, and it felt, whatever. when he said, and I think I've covered it on the previous episode, when I asked something related to his condition, he said it's a story that he explains better on the phone. So when he said that, it made me shake a little bit, like it was a very odd way of saying something, because I was asking something along the lines, I don't want to give you an example and just go too specific to this person's situation, but it was something along the lines of, I've mentioned on my podcast, for example, let's say I've mentioned on my profile that I have hypothyroid, or that I have a thyroid condition. And you ask me, do I have the kind of thyroid that makes my feet cold? Right? For my hands and feet cold. And to me, in my head, that's specific. I could say yes or no, but when my response to you is, it's the kind, that's not how my feet and my hands work. I can only explain this better. No, it's a story I explain better on the phone. Wouldn't that throw you off? Because I feel like this person is trying to get my phone number without just asking for my phone number point blank, number one. Number two, you literally just didn't answer my question. And I had even said, let me know. I said, if I may ask, hopefully, I'm not crossing a line. And they said, no, I'm not sensitive about stuff like that. Feel free to ask away. People always say that on dating sites. A lot of guys will always say, I'm an open book, ask anything. And then they will match with you. And you expect me to ask anything about you? You matched with me. Even if I matched you first and you match back, freaking tell me what you want to tell me. And if I ask you, they'll even say it in a conversation after you've asked them. I engage in a conversation. If I'm having a conversation with somebody, you have the right person if you're talking to me, because I'm very tuned in to a conversation. Like, I know that it's a skill, and I will remember everything you told me. So they will be like, okay, if there's anything else you want to ask. And I'm thinking, I'm talking about people in general now on that site or on sites, I guess. And I'll think to myself, I've already asked so many questions. Like, have you asked everything you want to ask or whatever? Usually for me, I just couldn't be bothered, dude. I'll just unmatch. Like, they do the littlest thing, and I'm just like, unmatch. This is not going to end up. And I'm right every time. If I decide, let's give it a couple more, whatever, the next couple of times, they're going to prove that they should have been blocked 2 days ago or 2 conversations ago. So back to this guy. He didn't really, he put that out there that it's, so I thought to myself, so now in order for me to get an answer to this, I should give this person one of my most prized possessions, my phone number. Like, I don't want to say it's manipulative. Maybe that's a strong word, but it just felt funny to me, and I didn't entertain it. I then said, well, then answer me and, tell me how the thing I asked about works. And I don't even remember that they did explain or they didn't. I couldn't even tell you. Because sometimes this is my thinking about people and interactions and humans and behavior, etc., etc. Sometimes people will throw one little thing. You can see it or not. It's a slight escalation, and you may catch it, like I said. And if you have this jolt of a reaction and you don't entertain it, like in my case, of course the other person doesn't know how you feel, or you can react to it, or blah, blah, blah. But stuff like that can happen, especially with men. And, I'm talking as a woman now. and then there'll be another escalation, etc. Anyway, come back to the next day when, of course, they asked for my phone number, and I gave it. We all know that story. My thinking now is, because I like to touch base with myself, it's a security thing. I don't want to get caught with my pants down. I want to see it coming. So I'm thinking to myself, what is the point of exchanging phone numbers with someone who was looking for somebody to chat with, and I gave him that, and we're chatting? It's not broken. So what is there to fix? What is having each other's phone numbers going to help this situation? And them saying on a different day, am I on Apple? I said yes. And they said, that's exciting. They're on Apple too. It's good to know that we are on, I don't know. I didn't understand that. I just didn't get that. Like, you can tell me if you know why that's important, because I've never, I mean, it's nice, when you have someone's number and you text them and it's blue and you're like, oh, cool. But like, and then, maybe at some point you can FaceTime or whatever, if need be, and those kinds of things. But I didn't understand. I didn't entertain it, but it left me feeling like I don't understand what this is about, because as far as I was concerned, it wasn't going to go to the part of us exchanging phone numbers. So I didn't understand why they even need to know that about my life. This person knows a lot about my life, speaking of which, because they listen to my podcast, which hopefully you have been to. And there is raw, deep, dark, emotional, very open stuff that I share here that I don't anywhere else, maybe not even with people who have known me for years, or, point blank. So it feels like a vulnerable place for me, for somebody who knows those sides of me, to then say, give me your phone number. It's not vulnerable enough that it's a stranger that you met there, that you were comfortable chatting with on that platform. Now they know you from a different platform. Yes, on my podcast, I always say, find me on all socials. I never say, here's my phone number. I never say, DM me and ask for my phone number. Have I ever said that? So if this person wants to remain in contact with me on other platforms based on my podcast, then use the media that I mentioned on the podcast. I don't see you following me on my socials. I don't see you, you know what I mean? So I mentioned this about my podcast because it's one of the things they said. They think that we would vibe. They like that word vibe, we're vibing or whatever. Oh. I had said a few days ago, maybe over the weekend, I'm ready to delete everybody on my list on this thing, on the dating site, and just start fresh. I've done that over and over again, and I've told you this. So I didn't say to him, except you. I was just chatting with him because I'm talking to him on a platonic basis. So I'm not worried about, you can tell a guy that you're wanting to date about other guys that you're talking to. You know what I mean? It's not that. So he said he understands. And, well, at least we were vibing for the time that we did talk. And I thought, poor guy. But I didn't say, don't worry, you're safe, I'm not deleting you or whatever. That's all I wanted to say, and I said it. And on a different day, maybe the next day, I was chatting with I had a long list of people with messages, and I would not message them back. But when he messaged me, I did message him. And I thought, I wouldn't dare say, just so you know, everybody else is on ice. You're the only person that I am entertaining, because I didn't want it to come across as something that it's not. I don't want somebody to be strung along, even though that's not my intention. It would have just been a fact, Jack. Sorry. But I didn't want, somebody to be like, oh my God, but you told me this. And you're thinking, what? That's not what I meant. You know what I mean? So I thought, just leave that alone. Don't get too excited now and be oversharey. So I'm like, now the reason that I'm like, I'm wondering, could it also, the fact that I had said I was considering deleting people, because I would tell him, I talked to him for more than maybe 2 weeks now or whatever, and I would say, I just deleted a bunch of people or whatever. I would always say, I just I just unmatched a bunch of people. So I wonder if a part of him is like, oh my gosh, anytime this person will unmatch me. And if that's what he's thinking, I'm allowed to do that too. If I feel at some stage that I want to unmatch, people have unmatched me, shit. People have disappeared out of my life. Me trying to figure out a way to not be removed by somebody from their life is not a solution, because people will do what they will do regardless. I don't want to entertain that thought, because I'm not in this person's mind. I don't know what their intentions. Let me just tell you the story, how it happened. And at least I've already told the story, but I am telling you about my thoughts as from this morning. The amount of energy this has consumed, like when I woke up and I was just going over it, thankfully it was different from last night. Last night it was very emotional, and I was shocked at the emotions that I was feeling. So, I still haven't opened the messages right from last night. It's now this morning, and my phone goes on focus. So from a certain hour to a certain hour, for about 12 hours overnight, I don't get notifications, and I'm just living my life. In fact, I'm not a big notifications person, even during the day. Like, I have very limited notification types enabled and more than 100 apps on my phone. Something I'm not proud of, but what are you going to do? The part of how many apps I have is the part I'm not proud of. The notification thing, I love it like that, because I have my own anxiety issues when I see red on like other apps. We can talk about that some other time, but it's not something that I love. And cut to my focus time ended this morning, so the notifications came up. Sometimes I don't get notifications via text. When somebody texts me, sometimes I don't get that. And then all of a sudden, when I'm going in for whatever reason, let's say, it could be anything, I will see there that there's new messages that I had no idea about. Oh, my health insurance messaged me about an event they were doing in my town last week. I never saw that. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. That's the kind of text that I have, by the way, in my text messages. It's a lot of that, not really from real people. So for some reason, when the timer, when the focus thing was done, I saw three message notifications. And I thought, oh, wow, I guess the notification thing is working. And it was the 3 messages from him that I didn't open last night. I had zero intention of. I was so comfortable in not opening them that I knew it's time to let this person go. I really wish they had kept it exactly the way it was, because it was working. You message me on a regular basis. I respond on a regular basis. I even send you voice messages. You've never actually, come to think of it, send me one voice message. I don't really know what this person looks like. They have a couple of photos of themselves on the site. There's a face photo of them, kind of face tilted upwards. And there's a face photo of them with their mouth open and they getting ready to put something in the mouth or whatever. And they did give me their Facebook link in the start. And when I went on there was less photos of themselves on there. There was one of the forehead and the corner of the eye, and one with this is the most hidden person ever. And then I saw their full name on Facebook, which I looked up, and nothing came up under that, up other than 70-something-year-old man. Unless, I'm being catfished by a 70-something-year-old man, which is not impossible. And then I looked it up on Instagram or whatever. I was like, wow, this person, he doesn't come up at all. And when you look at his profile, at the one photo that's on there, I remember, because all along in my head, not in my head, but I just assumed that he was white. And one day I go over his photos again. He has a couple of memes posted on there. So I go over and I'm like, is there any photo of this person on here? And I see one photo of his face. I don't even know if that photo was there all along or he updated it or whatever. And when I looked at the photo, I was like, is this guy Latino? I'm not good with races. I can't really, for the most part, when I look at somebody, I'm not good at just being like, okay, this person is this race or whatever. So I'm thinking, is this person Latino? Is he white? This doesn't matter. However, it just goes to show how I literally don't know anything about this person. And I thought, it probably would be uncouth to ask, because it really is not important. But it would have been another way of wanting to see if this person will open up a little bit more. So I say all this to say, amongst other things, you escalating from all this vagueness to having my phone number. For what purpose? And one last thing. When I mentioned to him that I don't give out my number, and when I do, people end up being blocked. And I'm glad I said that, because I was close to blocking him before he even messaged me, to be honest. And when he said he understands and he would feel guarded too, that was an interesting thing to say. He would feel guarded too if he were what? Then I didn't ask. Is this little crumbs that the universe hands to you and you just leave them for the birds to come and pick up and eat? Don't feed the birds. Then I sent, because he said he was understanding, I sent him the hug emoji, that black grayish one. And in response, he sent me the hands making a heart sign emoji. You know how people will do that heart sign, which to me was like, don't send me a heart. Am I crazy, people? Am I the problem here? Am I crazy? Because I understand the tone of today's episode is different from yesterday's episode. Last night, I was more like, I'm overwhelmed. I am nervous. I have a wall up. And today, I'm like, no, there's a reason I had such a visceral reaction. Wow, I don't think I've ever used that word before. I had literally a physical reaction, and don't ignore those signs. They're a gift from the universe. Why would you want to continue towards fear? And I've done a lot of things that I'm kind of fearful for, etc. And I push myself, etc. But also, you want to be careful when your instinct is telling you no. You want to follow that. That's how you sharpen that skill of your intuition, by listening to it when it gives you signs and looking for those signs and feeling things out. And when you get that sign after feeling things out, you act upon it. That's the dance. So now I was blaming myself and just being like, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm over here looking at it again. They say sleep on it. And also hindsight is 20/25. So, yeah. when he sent me that heart thing, I was like, I'm leery. Is that the word? I don't want hearts from dudes on the internet. I don't want them calling me sweetie. I don't want them calling me sexy. I don't want any of that. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear the word fun. Are you fun? I am fun. Do you have anything fun coming up? I don't want any of those terms. Just talk like a normal person. Talk how you would talk to me in person. Because the thing is, someone in person who I don't know wouldn't be calling me sweetie. Well, he can try, but obviously it wouldn't go anywhere. But I feel like somebody who wants you to take them seriously, who is taking you seriously too, would not. That's just already a sign that this is some subpar situation that you want no parts. So yeah, I just feel like the heart thing was another thing that this person is throwing at me. It's those little escalations that if you put them together one day, you're going to be like, there were signs, you know? So I say all that to say I went over everything this morning and I have since blocked this person. R-I to the P. They're gone. Didn't I say this? I said, I'm worried because, I don't know if I was worried, but I said, he thinks that this is a huge step forward in our whatever he considers this. And to me, it's a huge step towards the end. That's when, I don't want to say you realize you're not on the same page with a person, but I want to say we may have been on the same page and he moved us literally. What was Facebook called in the beginning? Book face page, whatever. It moved from the same page and he took us to another, not another book, not another bookstore, not another library, he moved us from Amazon to eBay. No, I'm kidding. I'm not blaming him. I'm just stating that all of these things are why I don't want to pursue talking to this person on myself. I still don't have them blocked on my Facebook, but I think it's probably going to lead to that, unfortunately. Because now I feel done. I feel like it's done now. I just feel like it's done. I feel like, I don't want to say the person crossed the boundary, but I have, call it a fear of, let me give you an analogy. People who are in prison and then they're looking for a pen pal. Do you watch 90 Day Fiancé? A lot of those people meet on pen pal websites. What happened? Wait, it's not 90 Day Fiancé. It was the same trash type shows. I think they're the same production company, whatever. Love After Lockup, Love During Lockup, and Love and Life After Lockup. They meet on pen pal websites, a lot of them. And now they're out here on reality shows, fighting, breaking up, getting married, finding out they're scammed, and whatever. But it came as a pen pal. So I've always thought to myself, I feel bad for people, for lonely people. I've just always had a soft spot. Maybe I relate to a certain degree, who knows. I don't know if it's loneliness, but because I'm a loner type, so I don't know. Maybe I'm in denial. I've always had that soft, but I think to myself, if I were to start writing to someone in prison, because now you are opening yourself out to someone in prison. There's another way to look at it. All bets are off. And you become putty in their hands. I was going to say clay. You become clay in their hands, and they mold you however they want. Before you know it, it could go any direction. So this is another, we'll call it a fear that I have. Someone who came in presenting themselves as somebody who just wants somebody to chat with. I have this problem of believing people, what they say, when majority of the time people will say anything regardless of what their real intent is. Or maybe somebody meant it when they said, I just want to chat. And then they realized, oh, this person has a podcast, let me listen. And now in this person's podcast, they're saying all these things. And maybe you're thinking, this is a great place. This person has nobody. And they always say that on their podcast. But the person's not an idiot. But anyway, so now you're thinking, I'm hypothesizing, obviously. You're thinking this person is available. This person has this depression issues, his mood swings, they're crying. This person seems like they're financially independent, which is a plus. They're great to look at, and they're fun, they're traveling, they're this, they're that. I have a lot going for myself. We all do. But my point is that part about me talking about how alone I am and whatever. And a lot of it is by choice. So please allow me to say this, and then I'm going to let you go. I have something that I've said or tried to say before, and I hope I say it eloquently. There's something that happens when people find out that I choose to live my life the way that I do when it comes to socializing. That tends to make some people feel like, oh, good, there's an opening there. This person is available for whatever they want a person in their life for. No, she's not. She chose it. There were other people who came before you who thought this way, and it still didn't work out for them. This person is not out here desperate to make a connection. I would love to have great, solid connections that work for me as much as they work for the other person. But they have to work for me too. I won't take just about anything. Hence why my blocked list continues to grow and the other one continues to dwindle. It's not for a lack of options. The standards are insurmountable. So don't think that this is a benefit to you. It's not. It's not going to end well for the most part. You know, anything is possible, knock on wood. I keep thinking I'm going to remove this clock from this room because, man, it TikTok. Sometimes when I edit these things, I can hear it in the background. Not just about that, but about sometimes at night I'm aware of it. I don't know, I think it impacts my sleep too. We'll talk about that some other time. There are other things there that I think are interesting that I actually haven't talked about and would like to. It's not just about the clock itself, but it's about me in my sleep and what happens most nights for the last more than 10 years. So that is that on that. Did I cover that story? Did I wrap that story up? Did it make sense? That you're being careful that somebody has not studied you and then thought, okay, this is going to be my target. And we don't want to be targeted. I may be wrong about all of this, and I may be right. And maybe the photos on there are not even this person. Do you know that even the phone number I looked up and nothing came up? Find me on all social media. Oh, please do. And post on my wall, okay? At Baba Broke, the Facebook page for the Patreon. Oh man, I need to stop talking. The Facebook page and the Patreon and Instagram of the podcast are Babbling Broke Podcasts. babalabroke.com, youtube.com/babalabroke. That's our blog and our YouTube respectively. Thank you for being here. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Reach out and touch me, not on my phone number. I'm kidding. I want to hear from you. Give us a 5-star rating. If nothing else, just because I asked nicely. Thank you. Toodles. Please, can I just add one thing? Oh my gosh. I wonder if anyone will ever listen to this. And if they do, will they listen up to this part? But please, can I just say, one of the things that I was thinking when I was going over everything with this guy was, because we are platonic and we met on a dating site, which means we still, because we met on a dating site, right? So the intention of people going on a dating site is to find love, like a relationship. But we're not that, which means we would still, ew, why does my kitchen smell like this? Whoa. Whoa. Oh. It smells like a sewer. In the kitchen, dude. So we still will probably be looking for what we were, which means we will still be on this dating site. You know how, you know this, generally when people meet on a dating site, on a romantic potential, and then they go off the site, and they take it outside the site. What is the point of us taking it outside the site with this person? Because we still haven't found love. Excuse me. Oh my God. It's that tickling thing on the side of the throat that goes up. That's what I was feeling. So what is the point of this? Why are we taking it outside the site when we are still on the site? We're still looking for love. This is my thinking, part of my thinking. Unless, I don't know what they're thinking. So we're still going to be on the site. We're still going to be looking, let's say, for love. We're still going to be messaging people there and reading messages. But you don't want to read my messages on there? You want to read mine on your phone? Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like, we're going to delete the app. Why would we do that? We haven't found what we're looking for, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know what his thought process is. That's another thing I thought it was a good thing to ponder